Greetings, it's Chloe. Hey, do you know what today is? Please tell me you know what today is. It's the end of October. There's that special thing that happens. It's like the original New Year. Yes, it is Shawin. And I wanted to come on here and be pretty upbeat and really excited, but I gotta admit, I'm a little down. This is my favorite time of year, and my energy is just so low. I just have not been very motivated, and that kind of depresses me because usually this is the time of year where I feel banging and wanting to move and groove and just get going. And honestly, I'm not feeling it. I think part of it's I'm disappointed. I ordered the Spirit Animal Tarot by Paulina. Is it Paulina Cassidy? I've been waiting. I'd heard about it, seen the pictures of it and everything. I ordered it on Amazon back in September, and now it's gone off pre-order, and they're saying it's out of stock. And I haven't gotten my edition of the Spiritual Animal Tarot, or even a tracking number or anything saying it's on its way to me. So Chloe is a little depressed. At the same time, it's really hard to be fully depressed because I am just loving the changing of the fall leaves. I have been prepping, at least having my reading space is kind of also my spiritual space. There is a little bit of stuff here. I need to clear everything today. I have been running around getting my boys enthused. My older son is just totally thrilled it's Halloween. So is my younger. They're all about the trick or treating and the dressing up and everything, and that's awesome. But honestly, I have been having a lot of health issues since the beginning of fall, maybe even through summer now that I think of it. I've been sick off and on. Every time I think I'm getting back on my feet, I seem to get hit down again. And I'm starting to realize what I'm eating is really affecting everything. Um, so my husband got this book called The Wheat Belly off Kindle, and he knows that I had had problems with wheat before. And what I did the first time this was like a major medical issue for me was I took out whole grain wheat from my diet. And that seemed to help a lot, but I've been looking back and kind of dating things off of some notes I'd taken through the last, like through the summer, through September, through October, and wheat is really affecting me in more ways than I thought. And now I don't even think I can have it in my eating style anymore. And I have been reducing meats out of my diet to just be almost just seafood for a while, occasionally allowing myself every now and again a little pork, a little chicken, but even that, it's hardly even once or twice a month at this point. So yeah, I'm looking at this Celtic New Year not as a way to make a resolution, but that I have to do a restart. And I actually started it this week on the last 3 days, through the weekend actually. And between reading the book Wheat Belly, which actually explained a lot of symptoms I have been having for almost, I want to say a quarter of the year, but I really feel like it's been a few years. A few years ago, I ended up in emergency, and I couldn't sleep for like 3 days, and I was in pain, and they tested me for celiac. I had an MRI and all kinds of craziness. The reason why that all connects with today, Tawin, is that I really have been thinking about my grandmothers and my dad and their health issues and everything else. And I'm very aware of my mortality today, this week. I have been feeling the least energized I've ever been in my life. I'm finally not feeling sick right now, as in I had that cold and stuff earlier in October, but I've been sick on and off for months now. And yes, some of them were totally separate things, but more recently it keeps coming and going. And I think the effect of my immune system is making me vulnerable to other illnesses. And the fact that some of the symptoms of being wheat or gluten sensitive can affect ADD and sensory issues a lot, as well as affect your energy levels just to function through the day, has made me come to the point where I've basically been evaluating our cupboards am looking at everything and I can't eat half of or even a third of what's in the house. There is wheat in so many different things. So this Shawin, I'm not making a resolution. I love to harness the energies of nature, say like a storm system or the natural currents that kind of flow through the earth during different times of year. And this Shawin, I'm giving thanks and offerings to the nature spirits, and I'm just asking to, well, basically, I'm thinking and saying that I am really going to listen to you from now on. That I know I've been half-assed listening to you for a while, that I'm always aware of you, but I don't always take what you're directly saying about me seriously. And I'm sorry for that. I usually am far more respectful of the spirits and even my own body signals of what's going on. But I have so many lifestyle and family pressure and social pressure, just like everybody else, that every time I've tried to enact a healthier eating style, I've kind of done it for a while, tried to get it going, and then when the rest of my family wasn't really willing to do it with me, I would just go ahead and eat like everybody else again. And I simply can't do that. I have been having so many of the symptoms listed in the Wheat Belly book, from the cramping of my intestines and digestive tract and everything, and my stomach, to some of the D and C symptoms, bathroom troubles. Literally planning my outings and activities based off of if I knew I could get to the restroom. I think that's IBS type mindset. And that's been for a few years now. And I just really came to the conclusion in this last week that I have been making do and I just can't do that anymore. Literally cannot, you know. When this first came up, my husband didn't take it very seriously. But since the move, he has been more like, if you really can't eat pizza, don't eat pizza. If you really can't have this, it's okay. Make yourself something else. We'll get the food. We'll buy it, whatever. Before it was like, oh, come on, let's just have some pasta. Or even my kids, Mom, do you want a brownie? Mom, do you want to share a cookie with me? Yada, yada. They really didn't understand how bad this was affecting me. And then, well, some things have happened in the last week and even this last month that have been really hitting home that I can't skim and kind of make do anymore. I really need to get serious about eliminating the wheat. And so I am connecting with their spirits to apologize to my own body, to the nature spirits who have been constantly giving me reading after reading that I need to change and do activities that heal me, that make active changes in my life to improve things, not just physically, but also in my relationships. It's affecting that. I kept thinking, oh, I understand. I know what's going on. And I did, but I didn't do the hardcore changes that I needed to, so I would have the energy to deal with these things coming at me. So now I really have to take it seriously and I can't play with it anymore. And it's getting to the point where I got a couple of readings recently that said, basically, like, you need to listen to us or you're not going to be here much longer. So, my friends, I'm letting you know that as much as I like this season, and I totally, totally love this season, I love the dark time of the year. Sensory wise, it is far more friendly to people who have hypersensitive issues than the summertime and the more active time of the year, because there's so much more higher vibrational activity during the lighter time of the year than there is during the darker time of the year. And that is literally why there are so many people who don't enjoy the light time of the year, usually feel better and are more active during the darker time of year, is because we are less overstimulated than we need to be. And I know that sounds like it's really matter of fact, and of course, duh. But when you are part of a subculture of our culture that truly is on a different current, As with paganism or any non-standard or mainstream thing, people don't realize how effective it is for those of us who are not like that. There's people within our non-mainstream lifestyle who are a subculture too, or a personality type or an experience type, and we experience things very differently. Now, I'm not a goth. I'm not trying to claim any kind of thing like that, but I do tend to favor darker colors, the grays, the blacks, and stuff like that, because for me, it is less stimulating. It is a little bit more bearable. And I do love some flashy hair and all that kind of thing, but it isn't because I'm trying to hide the gray. I acknowledge my gray, I acknowledge my quirkiness and everything else. But I do know that some people find me quite a bit odd. And I talked about this a little bit in one of the last two videos, and I'm embracing it. So, like I said, if you can handle it, you're going to get it now, and I hope you can handle it, because I've had so many people in my life that couldn't, that I just kind of had to make peace with that. So this Samhain, I'm speaking to all you quirky, dark dwelling, overstimulated, not listening to your body, or kind of hiding the fact that you are a darkling. And when I say a darkling, I'm not talking a goth, I'm talking someone who literally is most comfortable on a lower vibration. And I'm not even talking about a negative vibration. I'm not even talking about evil versus good or any of that. I'm talking about people who live on a slower path, who vibe on a lower vibration, who are overstimulated, who may be trying to keep up with everybody else and are pushing ourselves so hard to do that that we're not listening to our bodies, that we need to change things. And I'm telling you from my own experience that we need to listen and that we need to refocus. And yes, we can do what we can for our children or whoever else we're in charge of caring for, but we need to make the time to take care of ourselves. And that means I am now in basically a battle for what I need to do to be healthier. My divination tools and my spirit helpers have basically told me if I don't change now, I won't be here for much longer. And I need to be here for a bit longer for my kids. I've had some kind of interesting episodes this last summer and in September and October that have been really big shouts. But I have been so out of it and so not feeling well that even though I heard it, I felt like, okay, as soon as I start feeling a little better, I'll start doing something about this. But I didn't do enough. And so this last little bit, when I started feeling better after this last cold thing I had with my throat and stuff, I started doing divination again. And I started eating a little bit more regularly, and that included eating some foods that I know I probably shouldn't have been eating. And I had a really strong reaction, and then I did a divination right afterwards. And then some other things happened internally that I was like, what in the world are you doing, Chloe? Knock it off. And then this book fell in my lap that my husband got for me and passed it on to me and said, hey, I know you have some issues with wheat. I just got this book, and I know you're interested in this stuff, so go ahead and read it. And then I read it, and I was like, oh my God. Okay. Oh my goddess, oh my God, the nature spirits. Okay, all right. I'm listening. And I always have, but whether I act on it or not, that's another thing. So all I'm saying is, folks, is we're going to be talking about this, if not all this physical stuff, just this aspect of embracing the dark time of the year. Okay. I think I'm going to be doing a run and showing that all the quirkiness and all the kind of other way, and maybe even some social aspects of this and some other things, because this is my life. And I think when we talk about what we really experience, people get it more than when we're just planning on certain topics that we think people will jive with and just go with that. So, for the fun of it, since I love this oracle, the Halloween oracle, and I'm going to be jumping from the Halloween oracle and some of my Fae decks and some of my Joker decks through the winter. But I also got a call for my unicorn deck off and on, which I found kind of interesting because so many people consider unicorns really white lightery, right? Not necessarily so in my feelings and my experiences with them. So yeah, let's first do this. So for Samhain, I'm going to pull, oh, let's see what I get drawn to pull. And let's see what message they have coming up here, shall we? But I would love to hear from you guys who maybe jam with the idea of being lower frequency, but still working on, um, a healing path. I shared before that in the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle, my jam, my card is that card with the fairy with the really so slow snail and going at your own pace. That's kind of the frequency I'm talking about. Okay. So look at this. This is very different from the last time I tried to do this video. I got some other cards, and this time I got Rejoice in the Present. And that really rings with me, folks. I feel like since I've actively been weeding out wheat of all kinds since this weekend. And I think I'm starting to go through the withdrawal stuff that they talk about in the Wheat Belly book. And I think this can be current for everybody else, even if you're not dealing with my weird ass stuff right now. Rejoicing in the present. So many of you, everybody I talk to is, oh, this week, next week, 3 weeks from now, Halloween, when it was like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. So focused on the future that you're not focusing on the present. And right now, I need to be focused on everything present. And I think that's true for many. I think we're so focused on the holidays, so focused on what's coming up, that we're not looking at the little individual things that we have to be grateful for in the moment, the little activities that are happening in the present. When I pull out my fairy oracle, those fairies are always telling me, pay attention to right now. So often. Please pay attention to what your body's doing. Please pay attention to what today is. Today is Samhain. So please give out the offerings to the nature spirits. Honor your beloved dead. Honor those pets who passed on who are part of your beloved dead. Honor those men and women who are giving them their lives in the military and such, who give service to us during this time period. Give back, not just at Yule or Christmas or whatever, but in your everyday life. Think of them. And in your everyday moment, be joyful for what is good that you're experiencing in the moment. Enjoying the present. Stop looking at what next week is. Yeah, you might have to set dates and appointments and everything else. Yeah. But be present. My younger son gets a bit moody, and he has been expressing how we don't play enough board games with each other or doing things, whatever. So I've been making a really big effort to try to do those things with him. And I've been getting my kids out of the house. I needed it. I needed a way to ground, and they needed it too, because oh my God, I totally agree with those people who are saying that our kids are nature deficient. I find when I take my kids and myself outside, I can recharge a bit. I can't stay outside terribly long some of the time because I'm just not feeling well enough to fight off the cold or certain aspects. But I've been feeling better since this last cold or funky throat thing that I had. And so I purposely made myself go out and connect with the ground, which means barefoot, folks, even in the cold weather. Not for a huge, terribly long time, but long enough that I felt less. When I feel the currents, it feels like excessive static, okay? Less pressure on me. And when I allow the ground and nature to even me out, I feel like I can deal with things a little bit better, okay? So my kids and I did a nature walk with a field trip over in a national forest, capital forest, not too far from here, than 20 minutes or less. That was so good. My kids were in such a great mood for the next few days. I was really happy we had done that. And then so I've been making an effort to make them go outside. And they're like, but Mom, it's so wet. We live in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to get you some water boots. and make sure that we can be out and be present and be in nature and enjoy the leaves in the fall and be present. Because they're like, oh, but we're missing the snow, yada, yada. It's not time for snow yet. That's coming very soon. And we'll be in that. So that's my message to you all. Be joyful in the moment. Be joyful in the present. If there is stuff to enjoy, take a moment, even if your energy is not all that great and you don't move as quickly as everybody else or whatever else is going on. Find something that you enjoy in the moment, in the present, little things, your favorite drink, whatever it is, there's something to enjoy in the moment. Don't borrow trouble, people. That phrase has been in my head so much lately. Don't borrow trouble. Yeah, so rejoice in the present. Love this. So I'm wishing you all a fantastic Samhain evening. Many awesome connections and lovely party times with those you enjoy spending time with this Samhain evening. And if you need to, take 3 days to celebrate Samhain. There's tonight, the day after that, however you want to do it. Because honestly, the energy hangs around for about 3 or more days. And this cold, dark season is what, another 3 months? So enjoy it. Instead of dreading it, instead of wishing for the summer, please be present because, no, excuse me, there is purpose in the darkness. And it is a healing purpose. And it will embrace you and it will make you help, it will make and or help you face some things you need to deal with, like me really listening to all these signals and things that I had been asking for. What can I do? How can I help myself? For me, it's like, deal with your freaking health issues, woman. And finally, truly get rid of the weed, in my case. Maybe in your case, get rid of that freaking loser. If that's what you need to do. Or have that talk and get things out in the open. Or face your feelings of loss if someone has passed on this year. Maybe you haven't totally dealt with it. And if you've been dwelling in it and you haven't been doing the healing work, make connections this night or within the next few days and start the healing process. Spending your time in mourning for years and years is a waste of a life. I'm not saying don't mourn. I'm saying they wouldn't want you to dwell on them for years and years instead of living your life. Facing death and endings and the cycle of continuation, it is part of our lifespan and it's very important. So let's embrace it. And since this is getting a little long, I think I'll end there because, god damn it, it's Samhain. We should go have some freaking fun and do the serious work or the fun work. Sorry, my throat's a little itchy there. So, hey, if you like this, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. If you're interested in anything I talked about today, please leave some comments. Let's start a conversation. I've been trying to hook up the live stream thing. If we'd like to spend some time gabbing and interacting about these topics, let's do it, folks. Let's get something going because I am so looking forward to this dark time of the year. For right now, I'm going to be going through some withdrawals and getting this wheat and gluten stuff out of my system. So guess what? You get to go on the ride with me. And it's starting from last week until now. I'm already feeling a lot of changes. And yeah, come enjoy the ride. Or not. Don't enjoy it. Just witness it. And as soon as I get that spirit animal try, I intend to share it. And yeah, I'm going to do some more readings and some spreads with Halloween Oracle. I tend to like to use it through November. Been playing with it in October as much as I could. So yeah, let me know. Give me some thoughts, whatnot. And I hope you have a very present, joyful evening. And whatever you do, however you do it. Good night. Goodbye. Have fun.